Have you ever wondered when somebody stands up here, it gets quiet? I mean, it gets quiet. How's everybody doing? All right. I didn't hear it.
You said we're above ground.
That's a blessing. Yeah. Well, Frankie asked me to do the service tonight, so it'll be about 15 minutes. We'll be going home. But before we start, does anybody have a prayer request?
Mama wants us to remember her. She still has bronchitis.
Let's remember Miss Moselle. Go ahead.
Remember my brother Stan. He's got cancer of the throat. And also, my niece has a girlfriend who's in the hospital. She's on the ventilator with COVID, so they're not expecting her to go through the operation.
Let's remember that. Somebody over here? Okay.
Remember my daughter Kitty, she has COVID and she's really sick. Y'all, please pray for her.
Let's remember that. Brother Soundman, this mic right here is a little too loud. Every time I touch the pulpit, it's rattling. I like to messing with Shane ever since Brother Barry called him Brother Soundman. So he's got a new nickname around here. Anybody else?
Pray for my boss lady, Miss Lanita Ricks. She's having a hard time. Parents, the kids coming back from daycare and stuff, and all they want to talk about is this COVID stuff. What's the new update on the CDC and all that stuff? Pray for her.
Let's remember that. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Pray for Eddie, Hannah's boyfriend that comes with her. His sister passed away. She was 31.
Let's remember that.
She died earlier today.
Is the other sister still in hospital as well?
No, Heidi got to come home. She did get to come home yesterday.
Anyone else? Any unspoken? Raise your hand. If not, Brother Troy, you want to lead us to word in prayer?
Heavenly Father, we're just thankful that we can come to you this evening and gather together and encourage one another. And Lord, we want to lift up these prayer requests that we mentioned. Lord, we know that we have a lot of people that are going through hard times right now and suffering. And Lord, we just know that you have the answer. And we ask that your will be done in each and every one of those situations. And Lord, just provide comfort and strength where it's needed, Lord. And just thank you for this service that we're having tonight. And I ask you to be with Brother Deacon as he stands and giving what you have for us to have on his heart and on ease of words, Lord. Just protect him, Lord. And just be with all the people that are traveling and on vacation right now, Lord. Just give them safe travels and safe return, and just be with the children out in the children's church tonight, Lord. And all these things I ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, if you want to go ahead and turn, I'm going to be in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And the thing I want to talk about tonight is members. Not necessarily members of Trinity Baptist Church, but members of the church. And the first thing I want to say is, if you come to this church, we consider you a part of this church. So you're a member of this church. Whether you join or not, as long as you're saved, you're a member of Christ's church. So, but what I'd like to say is, there is no big member and no little member. And that's what I like about Trinity so far, is everybody's treated the same. And that's the way we need to keep going. But as far as being a member of Christ's church, there's different parts that a member has to do. And if anybody's familiar with 1 Corinthians chapter 12, it's about members. That's basically what it's about. So, and it tells you what the gifts of the Spirit is. And that's what we're going to go over a little bit tonight. So first thing is, I want to read verse 12, and it says, "For as the body is one, and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ." That's where I want to take the title of this lesson from, and it's many members. That's where I want to come with it. And when I talk about many members, I'm going to need, in just a few minutes, a couple of volunteers from the attendants out here. So if you want to be thinking who wants to volunteer, go ahead and start thinking. Because when I call on you, I'd like for you to come up to the table, one on each end. So, but if we'll go up to verse 7. "But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, and another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit. To another faith by the same Spirit, and to another the gift of healing by the same Spirit. To another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, and to another discerning the Spirit, to another divers kinds of tongues, and to another interpretation of tongues." So what we see here is you have different gifts. So, and it's like myself, Jeremy, let's see, any other preachers? Raise your hand. Sometimes they don't say nothing, but we have been called by God to spread His word. That's our job. That's as a member of Christ Church. That's what He wants us to do. All right. Then you have the deacons. That's a gift. They've been called to do certain jobs in the church, and we have on down teachers. You keep on going down, but there's no one more important than the other. You can take these kids out here in children's church, and in the past few weeks, we've had some get saved, which that's working. It's doing a good job. So we have little members, we have older members, but there's that little one. Don't forget about that little one, because that little one can reach other people that we can't. As far as a member of the church, they can go to school, they can go in, wherever they go, they have the opportunity to reach the little ones that if I was to go out in public, and it's sad to say this, and go up to a little school kid and start talking to them, next thing you know, I'll be in jail. I'm being serious. You talk to some of these parents around here and look at me, and I come up and I'm talking to a little 4-year-old. Well, guess what? Here I go. But that's the way it is. So they can reach the ones like that. Now, you get and this blesses my heart every Sunday. And I'm going to go say it. She's not in here, but her mother is. Kylie. Every Sunday, I sit back there and I'm watching. And she goes up to Brother Alvin every Sunday. Tells him how much she loves him, shakes his hand, and let him know that he's an important member of this church. And she's out there. And that's something right there that you don't see that often. And it's all over our church. I can look and see. I mean, sometimes I have bad days, and I come into the church, walk on in, and somebody just shake my hand and say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm doing better now." But as far as, and this is what gets me about most churches, if you have a defined line between the members. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. Because according to Christ's work, we're all of the same Spirit. And that's Jesus Christ. He gives us what we need to do as a member of Trinity Baptist Church. He gives us what we need to know as a member of the church. So there is no big member and there is no little member. And that's what I like. So I'm going to ask for those 2 volunteers. If anybody wants to come up. Oh, we got 2, Donald. We got 2 right here. All right. No, not necessarily, but it's going to be, you're going to be wanting to arm wrestle when you get through. So I'd like to ask if there's anyone back there that wants to come up front so they can see this. They're more than welcome to, because it's going to be hard to see it from back there in the back once we get started. So if you want to come up front, come on. It's going to take me just a minute. So, and no, Shane, there is no snake in the bag. There is money. There's a bag there, and there's a bag there. All right, and what it is you have 4 quarters, you have 4 nickels, and I'm giving you this in order that I need you to do this. 4 quarters, 4 nickels, 4 pennies, and 4 dimes. And we're going to have you hold off just a minute. What you need to do is shake your bag up, put everything on heads, stack it up in the order that I asked you to, and we'll see what happens.
In the bag.
No, on the table.
Okay.
It's real easy. It's on the table. But shake it up and stack it, and let's see where we go. And while she's doing that, what hand are you? You right-handed?
Be careful, I'm Friday now, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I want you to leave that hand in your pocket.
All right.
And this hand, I want you to put your thumb right there.
Well, how did I get this part?
Because you stood on this side of the table. Is that good? Is that not too tight?
No, it's good.
Okay. Okay. Now then, you can't use that thumb. Can't use that other hand either. I took away a couple of members. So I want you to do the same thing. Shake the bag, take all the quarters out, put them all on heads, and put them in order.
I can't use my thumb.
No, sir.
You might want to tape it a little better.
Well, let me open the bag for you, okay? Let's see.
I won't cheat, I promise.
Okay.
Do I have to stack them on top of each other?
Now you gotta stack them on top. Make sure they're all on the head too.
Oh, yeah. Like, picking on me.
You're done. Good job. She had no problem stacking all of hers up.
Wait a minute now.
Oh, I ain't through yet. We're waiting on you.
It get hard now.
Do y'all get the picture of what's happening?
I don't think I can do it. Can I do them one at a time?
You can do them one at a time, however you want to get it done. Now, this is not meant to embarrass you.
It's gonna mess up your 15 minutes.
But that's fine. But what I'm getting at is we have a church that's full of people. Everybody works for the same goal. Everybody does what Christ asked them to do. So, but here we have one that is missing
Handicap.
members. Yeah, he's handicapped. He's missing members. So the task that he was given becomes much harder. Now, if I told him to take that hand out of his pocket, it'd be a little bit easier. Thank you. Y'all did a good job. So, but when I took that thumb and put it in the palm and taped it up, oh, by the way, that's Gorilla Tape. So, but you see, without his other members helping him along, that became a difficult task. When this one right here, it just about like that. So even though they were both given the same task to do, I didn't ask for a timeline, but it took this one longer to do the same task than it took this one. And that's because it was missing some members. So keep this in the back of your head. It don't matter what size of member you are. You're still important, especially to this church. But you're more important to Christ's church. That's the main goal, is we've all got a job to do. If we all do our job, if we all do what the Lord has asked us to do, everything will be fine. So that's all I have. I told you it wouldn't be long at all. So, but that's all I have. And I thank y'all for helping me out, my volunteers. And this will be up here. If you want to come up here and try it, hold your thumb together and play with your fingers, have at it. So, but that's all I have.
Brother Dean, can I
Yes,
say something?
yes, ma'am.
When we were searching for a church and we visited for a year and a half, this church, young people, was different from any other church that we visited. Most of the time, young people just don't pay attention to old people at all. You know, they kind of bunch to their little groups and all. That is not the way this church is, y'all. I went to a lot of churches. This church, the young people, just made us feel so welcome. And they went out of their way to speak to us every Sunday, to talk to us. It was totally different from anywhere else. And you don't feel that in a lot of churches. And it was like after we were here, after we visited here and still coming home. That was the feeling, y'all. And I think we need to commend our young people because they are the way they are. They're just wonderful representatives of this church and the Lord that they represent. I just can't say enough about how I feel about everybody in this church is wonderful, but it's so unusual to see young people go out of their way to make old people feel good.
Yeah. If you haven't, take a minute and talk to them. They will bless your heart. All of them. Every single one of them. And that's not just the little kids, that's our, what I'm going to call the elder kids. And they do. They will absolutely blow your mind. Because a lot of people say, well, them kids don't need to be in the church. Well, I'm sorry. They can sit at that bench and play with their cards or play with their coloring books, but I guarantee you when you ask them a question at the end of church, they will understand what you're talking about. Well, they listen. They might be doing something else, but they listen. So that's why my thing is ain't no great member and ain't no small member. It's all the same church. And that's what we need to keep working hard here for. Anybody else?
I love this one. I just want to say I'm thankful for this church too. And I taught Sunday school last Sunday, and I mentioned this in the Sunday school class. I started going in the ladies' Sunday school class, and that's what I love about it, because it's ladies. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. You just have to be a lady to go in it. The majority of larger churches want to group everybody in by their age group, you know, and in Titus it tells the older ladies to help the younger ladies to lean on, you know, to help them grow as a Christian and do things that they're supposed to do. And that's what, you wouldn't have the relationships that you have if you just stuck with your age group, because I have loved getting to know the Shirley's and Miss Diane and, you know, and talking to Lynn, helping with the kids, you know, just like that everybody does so much. And like everybody's just so friendly here, like Shirley was saying, Shirley. And I just love everybody here, and I think these relationships are important. I know as a Christian, the relationships that I have built with ladies for members who are older than I am, to educate me in how a Christian woman that I should be. And I think the reason why we have everybody in church together is important to help you grow as a Christian, because Mau teaches me kindness and compassion, and they pray for everybody. Even when I used to teach their Wednesday night Sunday school class, they would pray for people whose legs got broken on basketball team, you know, and they would pray, and they would just pray for to have their faith, and then the older ladies that have the faith that they do, that they know that God's going to take care of you. And that's just something you can't learn everywhere.
Right.
I just want to say thank you.
Anybody else?
I think I just want to say I'm glad I'm saved and I'm fitting with that.
I'm glad you're saved too. I am glad I'm saved. And I am actually glad that I go to Trinity Baptist Church. I really am. There's so many people here, but you walk up to somebody and they'll talk to you. Even if they're having a bad day, they'll talk with you. So, but if there's nothing else, I'm done. Brother Soundman, you can turn me off now. I'm going to just give you the announcements that I know of. Sunday school, Sunday morning.
Are you looking for a place to worship God in spirit and in truth? Hello, I'm Frankie Green, pastor of Trinity Baptist Church in Auburn, Georgia. We would like to invite you to be in our service with us. Sunday school starts at 10 with morning worship at 11. Sunday evening worship begins at 6 and Wednesday night prayer service at 7. We are a King James Bible-believing, fundamental, independent Baptist church reaching out to those who need a special touch from God. For more information, you can visit us at trinitybaptistauburn.com or on Facebook at Trinity Baptist Church Auburn. We welcome you to Trinity Baptist Church, where you will become part of a family.